Okay, maize is now so widespread, and the Americas always come up when we want to talk about the evolution of maize in the agricultural communities. So the early farmers of Americas are associated with that, going back to more than 7,000 years. We have in North America, Mesoamerica, Andes, and elsewhere, we have the coaster with unknown ending, maybe more recent than 4000 BC. Here's the poverty point, Hopewell, Adena, and the Mississippian coming into AD 1500, and that's in the east. In Western North America, the Cochise or Cochise, however it's pronounced, starts before 7000 BC and comes to as recent as 1000 BC. And early farming is noted here in Ugolan, Hohokam, and ancestral Pueblo. In the meantime, in Mesoamerica, you had Tehuacan village farming going back to more than 7000 BC, and we have Gila Nakitse also over here between 6000 and 7000 BC, again, or the climatic optimum of the Holocene. Obviously, these regions, Mesoamerica and South America, many western parts are very dry because of the cold temperatures of the coast, and in the eastern Pacific. So we are talking about those regions. So we'll talk more about the Mesoamerican states in chapter 21, more recently since AD 1 in the modern era. And this is the Andes. So plant tending in the Andes seems to go back quite a bit, and Paloma is spread over before 6000 BC to about 4500 BC or so, and Chilca is here over almost 5000 to about 3000. Huaca Preta is here, and we'll come back to Andean states in chapter 22. The developments elsewhere around the same time, there were village farming happening in Southwest Asia and China that we briefly talked about. Ancient Egyptians by 3000 BC were already doing agriculture, Nile Delta, the seasonal flooding and gardening that we talked about. Shang civilization we just mentioned. Of course, by the time we come to AD 1, we have the Roman Empire, its ups and downs, and the Age of Discovery starting around 1492, spreading into 1522 or so. And the associated innovations are the llama being domesticated in the Andes, maize cultivation in Mesoamerica potentially having started around 5000 BC as far as the archaeological evidence go back, the oldest of these evidences. Native plants cultivated in eastern North America, which is wetter than the western North America. Maize in coastal Peru is found around 3000 BC or so. Maize in southwestern North America is found around 2000 BC. Maize in eastern North America is found by AD 1, and European contact, of course, happened during the Age of Discovery. Here is maize and teosinte. The harvesting process of the latter increased the shrinking of the teosinte branches and led to the husks becoming the enclosures for corn ears. So you can see how the modern human influence has affected maize and the related species there. Archaeological sites and cultural areas mentioned in this chapter include these across eastern and western, southwestern North America, Mesoamerica, and the Andes here. And you can see the arrows connecting the various islands to the mainland as well. So nuclear areas for agriculture were found here and here. Ancestral Pueblo is here. Hohokam, which is Hohokam is this one. This is Mogollon. This is Woodland, Adena, and Hopewell, and this is of course all the Andes nuclear areas for agriculture. So Huaca Preta, Playa Culebras, El Paraíso, Chica, Paloma, and so on. Okay, so this region here near the equator is all cold waters, and these coastal waters up and down here are cold. So this is dry semi-arid region, dry semi-arid regions, and so on. Okay, human settlements in the Caribbean. So Columbus arrives in 1492. First migrations though go back to 3500 to 4000 BC, and Saladoid migration happens 0 to 500 BC, much more recent, and second migration happened around 2000 BC. Obviously Columbus arrived and saw the natives here and assumed they were Indians, so he thought he had reached India, though he was nowhere near. Okay, just to summarize, Native American agriculture was based on quite different crops from those in the Old World. Root crops like potatoes and sweet potatoes. Maize was the most important cereal. Because there were many fewer potential domesticates than in the Old World, domesticated animals were limited to, for example, the llama, the turkey, and the guinea fowl. The earliest cultivation may have begun in the humid tropical lowlands, for traces of cultivation are said to date to as early as 7000 BC in Panama. In drier, more open country, agriculture developed in hunter-gatherer societies that were coping with constant environmental change and unpredictable population shifts. At locations like Gila, Maquis, Mexico, wet year subsistence strategies involving deliberate planting eventually became permanent shifts in subsistence activities. So there were seasonal cultivation and non-rainy season livelihoods or subsistence activities, which is still pretty common in many places, even like India, for example, or Africa, Southeast Asia, and so on. Among the staples of Native American agriculture were beans and maize, probably domesticated from a Central American native grass called teosinte as early as 4000 BC. And we talked about how its corn, its ear was modified by human cultivation, domestication. Maize agriculture spread from southern Mexico and Guatemala thousands of miles to the north and south. The earliest domestication of maize probably occurred in the Balsas Valley area of southwestern Mexico and other tropical regions. There were farmers in the highland Andes and in coastal Peru by 3000 BC. We talked about how the migration could have happened from the north by two potential pathways. But anyway, maize and cotton did not become vital cultivated staples until about 1000 years later, so about 2000 BC. Maize agriculture reached the North American Southwest by about 1500 to 2000 BC. By 3000 BC, sedentary villages and a much greater dependence on farming were characteristics of the Southwest, leading to the emergence of the Hohokam, Mogollon, and ancestral Pueblo cultural traditions, among which the ultimate ancestry of modern South peoples lie. Okay. Many groups in eastern North America turned to deliberate cultivation of native plants as food supplements after 2000 BC, but maize and bean agriculture did not arrive from the southwest until the first millennium BC. After 1000 BC, a series of powerful chiefdoms arose in the southeast and midwest, peoples among whom elaborate burial customs and the building of burial mounds and earthworks were commonplace. The Adena tradition appeared in about 7000 BC and was overlapped by the Hopewell in approximately AD 1. About 8800, very recent, the focus of economic, religious, and political power shifted to the Mississippi Valley and the southeast with the rise of Mississippian tradition. This tradition, with its powerful religious and secular leaders, survived a modified form until European contact in the 16th century AD, and we know that it was all hell break loose with lots of battles and mass elimination of the natives. The earliest traces of human settlement in the Caribbean date to between 4000 and 3500 BC. Hunter-gatherers from the Yucatan Peninsula. By 2000 BC, people had settled throughout the Caribbean as seafaring pre-ceramic immigrants, this time from South America, moved into Lesser Antilles and as far north as Puerto Rico. Between 500 BC and 8100, Celedoid people with distinctive painted pottery brought cassava and other crops to the islands. The following centuries saw the first settlement of the Bahamas and the development of Taino chiefdoms after AD 700, which exhibited considerable diversity and traded widely. The arrival of the Spaniards in 1492 led to the rapid destruction of these dynamic Caribbean cultures. Okay, so we'll come back and talk about the remaining regions in the next podcast.